それではお時間となりましたので始めさせていただきます。これからの時間は、Jihai Zhou さんによる、The Practice and Implementation of DevSecOps という題名のもとでウェビナーをお願いいたします。それでは、Jihai Zhou さんよろしくお願いします。Okay, Jihai, mic is yours.
Okay, thanks. Hello, everyone. It's good to have this opportunity to provide a sharing in the Tokyo DevOpsDays. So my name is Jihai. Currently I'm working as the DevOps architect in Tencent, and before I'm working in the HSBC Bank. So today I'm bringing these topics regarding the implementation of DevSecOps. Okay, here are the content I'm going to talk about today. Firstly, I will introduce myself. Second part, I will give you a short introduction regarding the DevSecOps. The third one, I will talk about the DevSecOps current status and also the challenge to implement the DevSecOps. The fourth part, I will talk about the DevSecOps tools in details. The next one, I will show you one example or a case how to implement the DevSecOps. So actually, this part will be mainly about my experience in HSBC before, how to implement the DevSecOps in HSBC. And the last part is Q&A. Okay, here's me. Actually, I'm graduate from Imperial College London as a PhD, probably more than 10 years ago. Yeah. So my major was the mobile communications. It's more about the 4G, but you know now it's like almost 5G now, so it's out of date. So after I graduated from the college, I started to work in many different banks, like RBS, UBS, Barclays, and HSBC. Yeah. So I started to work on DevOps from 2012 to lead the DevOps transformation in Barclays Bank. In 2018, I was transferred from like HSBC London office to the HSBC China office to lead the DevOps transformation in the HSBC China office for more than 1,000 people over there. And last year, in 2019, I joined Tencent as a senior DevOps architect. Okay, so this is my background. Okay, let's go to the DevSecOps. Firstly, I will give you a short introduction about DevSecOps. So what is the DevSecOps? I believe many people know DevOps already. Yeah, you know, because our whole event is mainly about DevOps, and DevOps, happened, I think, more than 10 years already. From 2009. So DevSecOps, it means the DevOps plus the cybersecurity. Yeah, plus the cybersecurity. So this term was created in 2012 by Gartner. Yeah, originally it was the DevOpsSec. It's not DevSecOps. It was DevOpsSec. Yeah, and I did some research to see why they changed to DevSecOps. Yeah, so there are two reasons. They changed this DevOpsSec to DevSecOps. The first reason is, for the original one, the DevOpsSec, the short term for this word is DOS. DOS, and I think someone probably heard about this. There's a DDoS in the cybersecurity world. Yeah, it's a very popular term. So there's a duplicate from this DDoS. Yeah, so this is one reason. It's duplicate names. Another reason for DevOpsSec. So you can see the order for this term, Dev, Ops, and Sec. This is a traditional way. This is a traditional way we run this whole DevOps process. We do the Dev first and then Ops, and then before you go to a production, you will do the cybersecurity assessment. Yeah. So this order for this word doesn't show the innovation for the new concept. So this is the reason people put the cybersecurity, the SEC, in the middle, called DevSecOps, which means like the figure at the bottom, which means the cybersecurity goes through the whole DevOps process. So DevSecOps means the cybersecurity goes through the whole DevOps process. Okay. And another key concept for the DevSecOps, it means it need to try to left shift the cybersecurity. From like I mentioned, traditionally it happened before you release to the production. Yeah. But now they left shift to the development part. Yeah, to the dev and the testing part. Yeah, and try to make everyone respond for the security. Okay. So this is roughly show you the history about DevSecOps and what is DevSecOps. Okay, so next part, why we need DevSecOps? This is a new concept, probably happened like in 3 years, but why we need this? Why DevOps is not good enough? Yeah. So let's take this the figure at on the right as one example. So in the figure you can see the 3 different parts. The one on the top is the traditional development process. But here is just one example. Yeah, for the whole development process, for example, for the development part, it costs 3 weeks. Like we gather the requirements, we do the coding, we do the testing. Yeah, let's take the example, 3 weeks. And before you release to the production, normally your company need to do the cybersecurity assessment, especially for some like financial industry. They have to do the cybersecurity assessment. But let's say this assessment takes 1 week. Okay, so the whole delivery time will be 3 weeks plus 1 week, like 4 weeks. 4 weeks for the traditional development process. The delivery time, 4 weeks. Okay, so let's go to the DevOps process. By using the DevOps, for example, we introduce like agile methodology to get people work together better. We introduce like CI/CD to automate the process. We introduce like a microservice to design, rebuild the architecture for them to can deploy this individually. Okay, so we introduce different like skills or methodology into a DevOps process to make the first or second part from 3 weeks to 1 week. Yeah, by using the new technology and the new concept. Yeah, with the DevOps reduce the first part from 3 weeks to 1 week. However, the traditional DevOps, it doesn't consider cybersecurity. So the second part for the cybersecurity assessment is still 1 week. Yeah, because the traditional DevOps, it doesn't consider the cybersecurity. So the second part is still 1 week, but it reduced the first part from 3 weeks to 1 week, make it faster. Yeah. So now you can see what's the bottleneck. The bottleneck for DevOps process is the cybersecurity assessment. Okay. So let's go to the third part, the one at the bottom. So this is what DevSecOps aim for. The DevSecOps is try to reduce the second part. Yeah, try to reduce the cybersecurity assessment to make the whole delivery time shorter, which means to make the whole delivery faster. Okay, I hope this example is simple enough to help you to understand, why we need DevSecOps. Yeah, this is one simple example. Yeah. Okay. So we do a DevSecOps. So what's the benefit? Yeah, what benefit the DevSecOps bring to the team? So there are many benefits, but here I just talk about the top 3 benefits. The first one, it means we make it faster. I think this is easy to understand. Like in this example, if we reduce the second part, the cybersecurity assessment, the whole delivery time becomes shorter, means we make it faster, right? This is simple, easy to understand. Sorry. So the second part means it's called control the risk. What does this mean? Traditionally, the developer mainly focus on coding side. The developer focus on coding side. Normally, they don't need to consider about the cybersecurity stuff. Yeah. Then they have to rely on the cybersecurity team to do the cybersecurity assessment to make sure the product is secret enough. There's no vulnerabilities for hacker to attack our applications. So the developer have to rely on the cybersecurity team to do this work. They didn't do this, but now we left shift the cybersecurity, to the development part, to the developers. So if the developer can handle the part of the cybersecurity, so the risk will be under control by developer. Okay. The third benefit means cost saving. What does it mean? So if at the second part, at the cybersecurity assessments, if they found any high-level vulnerabilities, they have to return to the developer for developer to fix this problem. Yeah, we normally don't allow the application to go to production with any high-level vulnerabilities. Yeah, so if you have the high-level vulnerability in your application, which means the hacker can attack your applications. So we don't allow this to happen. So the developer have to fix this. So if they return to developer to fix this problem, yeah, then when developer fix these vulnerabilities, they have to go through like a build testing again. So which means they have to go through the whole process again. Yeah, if you found vulnerabilities at the assessment stage, return to developer, fix this, then go through the whole process again, which resulting in the cost. Yeah, resulting in the cost and also delay. So if we left shift the cybersecurity, which means the developer can find the vulnerabilities at the coding stage. With the coding, they can see the vulnerabilities and they can fix the vulnerabilities at the coding stage. Then they don't have to go back to go through the whole process again. Yeah. So which means if you find and fix vulnerabilities at early stage, you save the cost because you don't have to go through the whole process again. Okay, so this is another benefit. So the first one, make it faster. Second one is the risk is under control by the developer. The last one, we save the cost. So this is about the benefit that DevSecOps can bring to us. Okay, in the first session, I'm giving you some introduction about the DevSecOps. What is DevSecOps? Why we need DevSecOps? And what the benefits the DevSecOps bring to us. In the second part, this is more about the DevSecOps, the current status, and also the challenge to implement DevSecOps. So this is about the data from some reports. So actually, there's one DevSecOps community, I think probably in Singapore. Yeah, so they publish a report every year regarding the DevSecOps. Yeah, similarly, there's one report for our DevOps. It published every year. So I just try to get some data, in this presentation to show you what the current status about DevSecOps. The first one is show like what's the most interest on DevSecOps from the industry. Yeah, so you can see that many different industry, they have interest on DevSecOps, but the most interest comes from the technology and the banking and financial industry. Yeah, so almost half of the interest on DevSecOps comes from technology and the financial industry. Okay, so this report shows the rough ratio between the developer, operations, and the cybersecurity guy. Yeah, so before when I work on DevOps, people normally ask me one question, what's the ratio between developer and operations? To be honest, there's no right answer. Yeah, there's no right answer. But in the report, it just gives you a reference to show you probably like if there's 100 developer, there will be 10 operations guys and probably only one cybersecurity guy. Yeah. So when working in HSBC before, the ratio is even lower than that. Probably, as I remember, there were probably 200 developers and only one cybersecurity guy. And this means like, we need more cybersecurity people. Yeah, it's lack of the cybersecurity people working on this area. Yeah. So actually we need, regarding the DevSecOps, sometimes you can find we don't have enough cybersecurity guy help you to do the DevSecOps stuff. Yeah. Okay, this data show like in the report, which means like many people believe the cybersecurity is important. Yeah, many people believe it's important, but only half of people, they do something. Yeah, so people believe it's important, but it's only half of people will do something. Yeah, I believe in the real world, the number is even lower than that. Yeah, so very few people, to be honest, in the real world, very few people, they very care about cybersecurity. Yeah, so people probably only more focused on their delivery job rather than the cybersecurity. Yeah, they probably try to implement their function, but just ignore the cybersecurity. Okay. This data in the report show like the most popular application security tools on the market, or what's the hot tools normally people used. Yeah. So you can see there's like container security application tools, the web application firewall, and also there's something I will talk about in details later regarding the static application analysis tool, open source tool, and dynamic application cybersecurity tools. Yeah. So here just give you some view about when we talk about DevSecOps, normally what kind of tools we normally use. I will talk about this in details later to show you more information about the tools. Okay, so before we talk about the current status regarding DevSecOps, but now let's see, what's the challenge to implement DevSecOps? It looks like the DevSecOps can bring us a lot of benefits, yeah. But when we try to implement this, what's the challenge? Yeah. So when working HSBC before, we kick off the DevSecOps at the end of 2018, and during the whole process, we did face a lot of problems. So the challenge normally come from two big areas. So one we call technical challenge. The technical challenge, what does it mean? Like I mentioned before, the DevSecOps is a very new concept. It's only become very popular in 3 years. So you can find some product or tools on the market, but there are not too many choice. Yeah, there are not too many choice on the market. Yeah, so because they're very new. And also for the tools on the market, there's a problem for the tools. The tool is not mature enough. It's not mature enough. There's always some problem with the tools. Yeah. So for this area, because it's very new, it still takes time, to improve the technology on this side. Okay. But the technical challenge is not the big issue. It's not a big issue. the most challenge comes from the people. Yeah, the most challenge comes from the people. So, for example, for developer, they normally believe their job is to produce the coding. Yeah. So developer normally don't believe the cybersecurity is part of their job. They don't believe that. They believe, we have the cybersecurity teams, we have cybersecurity department. Why I need to do the cybersecurity work? Yeah. So they have this mindset. They don't believe this is their job. Okay. Because also, it take time if they need to do this, it takes time for them to learn the cybersecurity. Yeah, they need to spend additional time to learn this. Okay, for some people, for some developers, they may believe, okay, I need to do a cybersecurity. Yeah, they have this mindset. Okay, they accept DevSecOps, but they may find they don't have enough knowledge. Yeah, when they fix the vulnerabilities, they don't have enough knowledge to fix the vulnerability. This happens very common because the cybersecurity is a totally different subject. You know the programming, but you may not know how to fix the vulnerabilities. Yeah. And also another important thing, because the DevSecOps is a very new concept, similar to DevOps, happened 10 years ago. 10 years ago, DevOps is also a new concept. Not many senior management to support this. Yeah, similar to DevOps, DevSecOps is also not many senior management to support this. If your boss, for example, if your boss don't support the DevSecOps, how you can implement this? It's a very challenge if your senior management don't support this. Yeah. Okay, so I talk about the challenge to implement DevSecOps from the technical side and also the people side. Okay, so in this session we talk about the current status and also the challenge to implement DevSecOps. So in next session, I will introduce the DevSecOps tools in details. So normally, when we try to implement the DevOps or DevSecOps, normally, we need to implement the tools, at early stage. Yeah. So for DevSecOps tools, normally there are four different areas. So one called static application security testing tools. Yeah. Another one called dynamic application cybersecurity testing tool. And third one called interactive application cybersecurity tool. And the last one is called free open source security tool, or another name called SCA. Yeah, doing similar thing. So for the first one, SAST, this tool is trying to scan your source code. Sorry. Yeah. So this SAST tool is a scan your source code. Similar to another tool called SonarQube. So someone probably heard about SonarQube. SonarQube is scanning source code for the code quality. So this SAST tool scan your code for your code cybersecurity. Yeah. So it scan the source code. For this tool, the advantage for this tool is this tool can find the vulnerabilities at a very accurate location, which means this tool can show you in which line of your code, has these vulnerabilities. So give you a very accurate location for this vulnerability. And also, but because this tool scans source code and developer producing the code, because they all working on coding level, so it will be very easy to accept by developer. So this is the advantage for this tool. So can tracking the vulnerability at a very accurate location, and also will be easily accepted by developer. However, this kind of tool have a big negative thing. Yeah, it has a very high false positive risk. What does it mean? It means like the scanning results is scanning the source code. The scanning result is not accurate enough. Yeah, so the scanning result is not accurate enough. So if your result is not accurate enough, how you trust this? Yeah, so then you have to spend, normally you have to spend additional people to double check the results to make sure the result is accurate enough. So if you spend additional people to checking the result, it will cost it will result in the cost, the labor cost. Yeah. So this false positive risk, high false positive risk is a big negative problem for this kind of tool. Okay. So next tool called dynamic application security testing tool. Yeah. So this tool normally we call black box. Yeah. So it doesn't scan the source code. It try to produce some like you can think about this tool like a testing tool. In testing, we produce a test case, right? To test case to see the function is implemented or not. For this dynamic application security testing tool, it has a security case. The security case try to produce the behavior of the hacker. The behavior of the hacker. They try to attack the applications. Yeah, like a hacker to attack the application to see any vulnerabilities. Yeah. So this tool, is really like in the real world, the hacker attack the application. Yeah, and also this tool at this moment, it's also the most popular tools. It's the most popular tools. However, the negative thing for this tool is because we need the security case. It's normally required the professional security knowledge. Yeah, it required the professional security knowledge to produce this security case. Yeah. So you can see because they have this high requirements, it's not easy to left shift to developer. We talk about DevSecOps. We talk about the left shift. We need to move this to developer, but because it required very professional security knowledge, so it's very difficult to get a developer to use this tool. So this tool normally is still managed by the cybersecurity guy. Yeah, by the professional cybersecurity guy. Okay, the third one called the interactive application security tool. So this tool combine the first one and second one, the SAST and DST. So you can think about this tool. It's look like a monitor. Yeah, it look like a monitor. It use an agent. It install agent in your application. Yeah. So in your testing environment application. So when your application is running in the testing environment, the agent will try to gather some data and then analyze the data to see if there are any vulnerabilities in your application. So it's look like a monitor to use agent to gather data. Yeah. So for this tool, the result is very accurate, and also it doesn't require very professional skills to use this tool. So this tool at this moment is normally we will consider this tool is for the future. Yeah, it will because it's very easy to left shift to left shift. Okay, so here we talk about these three different tools, and the fourth one, like I mentioned, this is for the open source tool. Yeah, for the SAST, DAST, and IAST, these three different tools, they try to protect the code you produced. Yeah, you produce a code and you use these three tools to protect there's no vulnerabilities. And for the fourth one, the last one, is for the open source the tools, which means when you're coding, you normally introduce some third-party library, third-party package, or third-party plugin. So introduce some library or tools produced by other people. So how you can make sure the library or tools produced by other people that know vulnerabilities. Yeah. So this is the reason why you need the fourth tool. Yeah. There's a free open source security tools to help you to scan the third-party library, the third-party package to make sure, to find any vulnerabilities there. Okay. So we talk about these 4 different tools for DevSecOps. So here is some popular tools on the market. The popular tool on the market. So I will not introduce this one by one, but just give you a list. You can find these tools for different area from the market. Okay. In this slide, it shows like in the whole SDLC, in the whole development process, what position, what location or position our DevSecOps tool will fit it in. Yeah. So you can find for the SCST, you can see for the SCST and the third-party security tools for the one on the top and the one on the bottom, they normally fit the coding area. They normally fit the coding area. And for the DST and IST, they normally fit the testing area. Yeah. So, we have different kind of DevSecOps tools. And this show you the location, the position, this different tools can fit in our whole SDLC. Okay. So before we talk about some, the concept, the DevSecOps concept, and also I show you some current status and challenge, and also show you some details about DevSecOps tools. In the last part of this presentation, I will give you a real case. Actually, it's what we implement this DevSecOps in HSBC. So I will show you the case how we do this in HSBC. Okay. Firstly, it's the model we followed for this whole DevSecOps program. The first part we call this DevSecOps implementation model. What does this mean? It shows you what you need to do. Yeah, it shows you what you need to do to implement the DevSecOps. Okay, so the first part, like we talked about before, we need to introduce the cybersecurity tools. And also, we need to integrate the cybersecurity tools into the CI/CD pipeline to automate the process. Yeah, so we need to automate the cybersecurity tools. So for developer, they only need to see the results. They don't have to manually click on any button, to run the cybersecurity tools. Everything is automated. Yeah, everything is automated. And also, the cybersecurity tool, like I mentioned before, is scan your application, scan your code to find the vulnerabilities. And finally, we need to visualize the vulnerabilities at dashboard and report for developer to see this. Okay, so you can see the first part is to introduce the cybersecurity tools, automated tools, and finally produce the report and dashboard. Okay. So the second part is for the people. So the first part, like we mentioned, the tools only help you to find the problem. Yeah, tools scan your application, scan your code to help you find the problem. But tools can't help you solve the problem. Who solve the problem is the people. Yeah. But like I mentioned before, the challenge for the people side. Some people don't have the mindset to accept the DevSecOps. But even for the people that they accept the DevSecOps, they still don't have enough knowledge. Yeah, they don't have enough knowledge to fix the vulnerabilities. This is the reason we need to provide them the training. Yeah, so we need to train the people for them to have enough knowledge and skills to fix the vulnerabilities discovered by the tools. Okay, so for the training, I will talk about this later in details. We will have different approach to do the training. Okay, so this is the second part. We train the people. So the third part, you can see from the figure, is the first stage plus second stage And then we get the third stage. What does it mean? So we introduce tools to find the problem, to find the vulnerabilities. We train the people to have enough skills and knowledge to fix the problem. And finally, we get the people, we try to create some cybersecurity expert. Yeah, so it's not the real cybersecurity expert, but it's the people who have enough cybersecurity knowledge in the team. So this is our purpose. So our final goal for the DevSecOps program is try to create this DevSecOps champion, or you can DevSecOps expert in the team. Okay, so this shows what we need to do in the whole program. So the next one is we call DevSecOps operating model. It shows you how to make this happen. Yeah, how to make this happen. So you can see that 3 different roles in this model. So one is a DevSecOps champion. So this role is the people or the leader try to make the whole DevSecOps happen. And these people will connect the cybersecurity team and also development teams, to make this happen. And the second part, let's go to the cybersecurity team. So the cybersecurity team, like we mentioned here, they need to provide the tools. They need to provide the training. They also provide the consultancy service. So the cybersecurity team provide all of this to help the development teams, to become expert. Okay, and finally, the key part is the development teams. The development team, by using the tools to find the problem, by getting training to be able to fix the problem, yeah. And finally, during each project, during each initiatives, yeah, they try to become this expert. Yeah. The reason I said they try to become expert because they take time. They take time. So when we try to implement this in HSBC before, we implement DevSecOps in 4 parallel teams. So 4 parallel teams at the very beginning. It took like half a year. It took half a year to get the people in the team, to be familiar with tools, to get enough knowledge, to accept the whole DevSecOps. So it takes time. Okay, so here, we talk about what we need to do and how we make this happen. So later I'll show you some more details, like what we did before. So regarding the tooling, like I mentioned before, we need to integrate the DevSecOps tools into CI/CD pipeline to automate the tools, right? So here's one example of what we used before. Checkmarks. Checkmarks is one SAST tool to scan your source code. Yeah, and we use Jenkins as our CI server. So we download a plugin into a Jenkins checkmarks plugin, and then once you download the plugin, you will find a new section in your Jenkins, and then you can do the configuration in your Jenkins, to make this checkmarks works. And there's another way you can do configuration. Now we have this pipeline code in the Jenkins tool. The pipeline code. You can also through the pipeline code to do the configurations. But whatever, you can use the traditional way to do the configuration or the pipeline code to do the configuration. So once you finish the configuration, you kick off the pipeline. And then the checkmarks will scan your source code and finally give you a report. So you can see that the report on the right. So to show how many high-level vulnerabilities and how many medium and low-level vulnerabilities. Yeah. So here, that's one example how we integrate the DevSecOps tool into our CI/CD pipeline to automate the process. Here's an example regarding the checkmarks. So these are the tools we used before in HSBC. So you can see, like I mentioned before, these tools, that's one figure on your left. So you can see this tool can show you, where exactly which line of your code, has these vulnerabilities. Yeah. So it's tracking the location of the vulnerability very accurately. Can help developer, to know the location very accurately. Yeah. And also for the figure on the top, you can see they classify the vulnerabilities into 3 different levels, like high, medium, and lower. So normally, if you have any high level vulnerabilities, you have to fix this before go to the production. Yeah. So which means you can't release to the production with any high level vulnerabilities. Okay. Okay, this tool is the one for the open source cybersecurity tools. Is from the Nexus, we call Nexus IQ server. Yeah, similar to the previous one, it also classify the vulnerability into different level. But this one is mainly for the third party cybersecurity scanning. Okay, I will not talk about this in details. I think the time is very limited now. Okay, so here we introduce about tools. So now we go to the training. So we probably training into by using different way. So here there's one approach. There's some tutorial in the tools itself. So for example, if you found a vulnerability in your tools, then the tool will give you some tutorial. For in this example, it show like what the risk for these vulnerabilities and what's the reason for this to cause these vulnerabilities. I didn't show this actually at the bottom. It also gives you some example to show you how you fix these vulnerabilities. Yeah. So this tutorial in the tools is very useful when developer working on the vulnerabilities. But this is not good enough because it doesn't show too many knowledge. So the next way is a traditional way. We have many DevSecOps training online. People can take these courses online, to get enough knowledge. However, this approach probably a bit boring. Yeah, it's a bit boring because it's just an online course. So in HSBC, we introduced another we call platform called Security Warrior. So this platform it shows you some story to give you a real scenario. For example, in this scenario, in this story, it shows you that the hacker from Brazil to attack the UK. Yeah, attack probably the server in the UK. Yeah. So in this story, they also give you an example. Probably this code. There's one pieces of code because the hacker goes through the vulnerabilities in this code to attack the server, and then you can try to see how to find the vulnerability and how to fix this. So this way is it's not that boring. Just give you a story or scenario, to help you go through the learning stuff. Okay, so this is about the training we provide to the developer. Also, we also try to create some like event or competition in the company in HSBC. Just create this kind of environment for people to know like the cybersecurity can happen anytime, anywhere. It's not something far away from you. Yeah. So we ran this in 2019 before. Yeah, and we try to encourage the developer to join this competition. Okay. Okay, so this is the last slide. Yeah, although this is the last one, but this is a very important one. Yeah, so before we talk about we bring tools, to find the vulnerabilities. We provide training for people to have enough skills and knowledge to fix the vulnerabilities. Yeah, but there's one problem. How do you know? Once you use the tools, once you do the training, how do you know how good your team you are? So you use tools, you accept training, but how good you are on DevSecOps? Yeah, how good you are. So we need this. We need to do some assessment to find how good you are on DevSecOps. Yeah. So this is for this purpose we produce this DevSecOps maturity model. Here is a very simple example. Very simple example. Here we have 5 different levels, and we only use how many hours of training, and also the relevant knowledge to measure your level. But actually, in HIBC, we have a more complex process. As I remember, we have this document, the document to show how to measure how good a team you are, measure your maturity level. It's more than 20 pages. It's more than 20 pages document. Yeah, then more than like 20 parameters to measure how good you are. Yeah. So people probably ask me, so why I need to know how good how good the teammate is. Yeah. So let's go back to this slide. Sorry. So let's go to this slide. Yeah. So at the bottom, this is our DevSecOps process. We try to reduce the cybersecurity assessment. So cybersecurity assessment is running by the cybersecurity teams. Yeah. So by using the model, yeah, remember the model I show you. Yeah. So we do some assessment to see how good the team on DevSecOps. If you are good enough, means you have your tools, you have your training to have enough knowledge. Then cybersecurity team will trust you. Yeah, they will trust you at the first stage. At this development stage, you fix the vulnerabilities already. Yeah, because the first stage is running by the developers. Second stage is running by the cybersecurity guy. So if we left shift the cybersecurity to the first stage to developers, the developer have enough knowledge and tools to fix the cybersecurity problem at first stage already. Then the cybersecurity guy at the second stage, they will not do any more work. Yeah, they will trust the developers and they will reduce their work probably from 5 days to 2 days. Yeah, so I hope you understand the knowledge. So if the developer is strong enough on cybersecurity, so the second stage, the cybersecurity guy will not do too many work because he believes the developer have do enough work on the first stage. So then, like this, what we showed before, if we reduce the cybersecurity assessments, then we can make it faster, right? So now you can see why we need to do the DevSecOps. The final goal is try to reduce the cybersecurity assessment by left shifting the security to developers. Okay, and finally, we use this model to measure how good you are. If you are good enough, we reduce more time. Yeah. Okay, so here is all about my presentations. So like I mentioned before, I show you some basic concept about DevSecOps, like what is DevSecOps, why we need DevSecOps, what's the benefit we bring to the DevSecOps bring to us. And later I show you the current status about DevSecOps and also the challenge to implement DevSecOps. And later I talk about DevSecOps tools in detail. We have 4 different kind of tools working on different area. But they still have some negative things. Yeah. And finally, I use this example, what we did in HIBC before to show you how to make this happen. What we need to do on DevSecOps, how we make this happen, how we bring the tools, how we provide the training, finally how we measure the team on DevSecOps. Okay, hopefully this is helpful to give you some picture regarding how to implement DevSecOps. Okay, thank you. Do you have any problem? So do you have any questions? Sorry, do you have any question?
Can I ask you one thing?
Okay.
When you demonstrate DevSecOps, I think you use some kind of vulnerable application. Any kind of application you recommend when you demonstrate?
What do you mean application? You mean the tools? What do you mean application?
Yeah, I think you scan the vulnerable application, right?
Yes.
So when you demonstrate, any tool
All
that
right.
you recommend?
So sorry. I hope I understand your question. So for the example here, the application we scan is for the financial trading platform. Yeah. So actually, this tools can scan any applications. Yeah, but here the example I show you is for our financial trading applications. Is this answer your question? Because I worked in the bank before, so the application is mainly about just financial applications. But actually, like I mentioned already, these tools can scan any application. Like for example, now I'm working Tencent. Tencent is a technology company or internet company. Yeah. So we also use some tools similar to here. We also use some tools, but we also build the tools ourselves inside the company. Yeah. So like I mentioned, this tool can scan most of the applications. Yeah. Okay. Any more questions? Okay. I think the organizer has my contact, like my email. If anyone has any question or has any interest, you can email me your questions. I'm happy to answer your questions. If you email me. Okay.
Okay, Jihai, thank you very much. どうもありがとうございました。ただいまもって、15時の会終了させていただきます。どうもご参加ありがとうございました。では次のセッションは16時から開始をいたします。どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。では一旦ズームを閉めさせていただきます。